Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to What's on Your Mind. Sorry, welcome to the marketplace with Uche Onoche today. Sorry, I mixed it up with my Wednesday event. You know, when you talk every day, almost every day, every week, sometimes you can misplace certain programs. So welcome everyone. Welcome to What's on Your Mind. Today, I see that, the marketplace with Uche Onoche. Welcome, Garden of Ayo on Instagram. Welcome, MTDS. Welcome on Instagram. Okay, welcome guys. Today we're talking about something quite interesting today. It's how to manage expectations in life. How do you manage your expectations? It's really interesting because most of us don't know that we need to manage our expectations. So today we'll deal with it. Let me just give you an overview as we get into the meat of this topic today. You know what? Expectations are how we hope or anticipate life to be. You know, I'm glad that those of you on Facebook, you can see my presentation here today. Expectations is very key. Expectations are how we hope and anticipate life. You know, they encompass practically every aspect of our life, our work life, our relationships, you know, and the way our lives will span out really, the way our lives unfold generally, it all has to do with our expectations. Expectations is like that hope that gets you up every morning. You wake up every morning because you expect something. You wake up every morning because you expect something to get something, and that's why you leave the house. You know, so expectation is like the driving force that keeps us going ahead and ahead. You know, expectations play a major part in our goals and the general life direction in which we are formed. The expectations help us to be able to envision our future. It helps us to meet certain standards in our lives. I expect to do better. You are somewhere and you say, look, I think that I expect to do better. I think by December 2021, I expect to be here. I expect to have finished my house. I expect to get married. I expect to do this. I expect to do that. You know, so expectations, it's like can push you up the ladder. It can push you up it can push you up the career ladder because you expect to be a certain person. When you sleep at night or when you want to sleep at night, what are the things that you think about that you want to achieve the next day? What are some of the things that you think about? So you need to realize that expectation is what drives us. However, there's a downside to expectation. There's a downside to everything in life. And the downside to expectation is that when expectation influences our thoughts so much, now it can become a hindrance, a deterrent, and it can become something that is counterproductive in our lives. When our expectation, what we expect, begins to rule our day-to-day life. Expectations are good to set standards, but expectations, when it's not managed, it can lead you to compromise, it can lead you to crime, it can lead you to so many things. So we need to be able to know how to manage our expectations so it doesn't go overboard. So, and also when we give other people's wishes, or when we give in to other people's wishes instead of our own, it can also affect our own personal well-being. So now the essence of this presentation this evening is how to manage expectations instead of letting your expectations rule your life. I'm going to give you some tips of how you can manage your expectations, because if you don't know how to manage your expectations, it can lead to your downfall, really, or make you become counterproductive. A lot of young men I counsel and I speak to, they have great expectations, but they don't know how to manage it. And now they set themselves on a path that they can't even come out of it. So let's go in and begin to see there are two types of expectation, managing expectations we're going to look at this evening. One is managing personal expectations. One is managing personal expectations, and the other is managing other people's personal expectations. See, we expect a lot from ourselves. I don't know why it's always like that, but I think we usually expect a lot we expect a lot of ourselves. Unfortunately, our expectations are really unrealistic at times. We set our path, we set our mind on things that will cause us to walk in a lot of stress and self-criticism. So it's important that we manage them well. Before you have expectations, you have to critically analyze, assess, what is it that I want to achieve? Do I have what it takes to achieve it? How long is it going to take for me to achieve it? You can't come and tell me, I think I'm a brilliant person, I want to read medicine in 2 years. Or maybe I want to read medicine and pharmacy together, and I feel that I can do it because God has gifted me with ability to retain information. He's giving me that gift of being brilliant, so I can do those things. It's unrealistic for you to do those type of courses in 2 years. Okay, so it's important for us to be able to manage this. Do not place so much, not that you don't put so much on yourself. We usually expect a lot from ourselves, and what this does is that it leads to self-criticism. I see people say to themselves, oh, Uche, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're supposed to have gone far. You think they're talking to someone else, but they are actually speaking to themselves. They are actually speaking to themselves. And you're wondering why are you speaking to yourself? Is because you have this expectation that is yet unmet. All right. So in managing your expectation, another way to manage your own personal, we're talking about personal expectation right now, is to do what? Give yourself time. Give yourself time. We want things when we want it. We want things when we want it, but that can itself make us hard on ourselves in terms of personal expectations. When we want something, we want it now. We want it to happen now. We want everything. We want to get rich now. We want to get married now. We want to have the degree right now. We just want to have everything right now, and that in itself can become a problem. Give yourself time. Give yourself time. I had this quotation somewhere. It said, ambition is a great thing in healthy doses. Ambition is a great thing in healthy doses. But if we expect to instantly achieve our goals, it creates an internal conflict within us. And a house that is not united cannot stand. If you are struggling inside, with your expectations, it means that whatever you're trying to build, it will not be able to stand. If your ambition has become unrealistic, this is what drives people to crime. This is what drives people to compromise. This is what drives people to make mistakes in life, because they don't give themselves enough time. Be mindful of your own timelines as you set your goals and objectives. Please be mindful of your own timelines and make sure you have a realistic plan to get you there. Don't say I want to become the president of Nigeria and you are not even a political party. You don't even know how the system works. Political system works here, and you say I can make it. I've prayed and I think that it's possible for me to make it. Give yourself enough time. You have to research to know what is it going to take me to achieve this. The book, I think Malcolm, I think in the book Outliers, I'm trying to remember, Gladwell, I think his name is something Gladwell, in Outliers, he said that you need 10,000, you have to do something 10,000 times before you gain mastery in that. 10,000 times before you have to do one particular thing 10,000 times, 10,000 hours, sorry, put in 10,000 hours to gain mastery, exactly. Put in 10,000 hours to gain mastery. So although some people are disproving that not in all circumstances do you need to gain 10,000 hours for you to gain mastery. So, but what it's saying is that there has to be a level of amount of time you put into achieving something. When I teach people on investment and wealth creation, I tell young men especially, because they're the ones that are always asking questions, how long will it take me to be super rich? I say to people, give yourself 10 years. You can make it in less, but give yourself 10 years to build wealth. You actually need to learn how to build wealth, how to accumulate wealth, how to be able to, first of all, earn, because you need to understand how to earn. Then you need to understand how to save. Then you now need to understand how to multiply that money that you have put aside. If the money you have put aside is not enough, how do I source for funds to add to the one that I have, which is also called equity, for me to be able to achieve what I want to achieve? Where can I get the knowledge to become wealthy? How can I invest? Is it only by having company, starting a company, will I be able to be rich? No. Is it only by working in a good company will I be able to be rich? No, because you are in business. The only thing that is supposed to come to you is your dividend and your salary. You become wealthy not because you run a company. You become wealthy because you know what to do with the money that you receive. The money that accrues to you. There are a lot of people that are MDs of companies, but they don't know how to manage their own personal funds. Part of the things we do in Marketplace Apostle is teaching people how to handle personal finance. So a company can be doing well, but a company doesn't know how to invest the company funds so that they will be able to do more things. It takes time for you to be able to juggle all these things and understand all these things and to understand how money works. Because if you can have someone can give you 50 million naira today, that 50 million naira might not last you two years. If you don't understand how to multiply that money, if you don't understand how to multiply, you don't understand how to invest, that money will soon find its way. So you need a particular amount of time to be able to achieve that which you expect. So be mindful of your timelines. Be mindful of your timeline. Don't set goals and objectives that you know that are going to add stress to your life. They are going to make you begin to criticize yourself. Once you begin to criticize yourself and call yourself and say, Uche, you should be doing better than this, there's already an internal conflict inside of you. And once that internal conflict is inside of you, there is no way you can be operating at optimal level. It's not possible. Because one part says that you are trying, another part says that your mates have left you behind, that your peers have left you behind. Once that internal struggle is there, is a problem, because we don't set enough timelines. A friend of mine got a parcel of land, and we got it about the same time, and he said he gave himself, I think, is it like 6 months? He got land in January, and he said he wants to move in by December. And I looked at what he wanted to build, and he said, look, I need to move into that house by December. I said, okay, there's nothing God cannot do. But what do? You are not a business person, you're a career person. Yes, he has other things that he does that adds to what he earns, but at the same time, I asked him, are you able to, there is no competition. They're not giving prize. There's no award at the end by finishing this house in less than 1 year. There's no prize. I say, no, he has to stretch himself. And it was unrealistic for the house. It was based on his income, what was coming in, because the places that he was banking on, there was no full proof that it's going to come as he expected. So what it means is that he now got, by the time he got to October, and he was just barely halfway, he was depressed. There was so much stress upon so much stress. He put himself under so much stress, and he was always criticizing himself. If I didn't do this, I would have had money. If I didn't do this, if I didn't travel, I would have had money. If I didn't do this, there were so many things that he was criticizing himself. He was criticizing himself. And you know what? He didn't finish the house in December. Because there was already a conflict inside of him. Give yourself time. Enough time. I'm not saying give yourself all the time in the world, but make sure before you set timelines that those timelines are adequate for you to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. If not, they will put you under stress. For people that have worked in the bank, they understand what target means. I've worked in a place that I have target for 500 million naira, and I'm asking myself, how will I get it? When you have that type of target, there's no way that you'll be able to sleep at night, especially on a Monday like this. Monday morning that they're going to ask you, where are you going to get this kind of money from? You are under pressure. You are under pressure because they've set their expectation, and they're giving you timelines, and you realize now that you have to achieve. You see that bankers, and not only bankers, all over, they are under stress to be able to meet up. But that one is even accepted. Is you decided to go and seek for work there. But the one I'm talking about is personal expectations, managing your personal expectations. Don't put yourself under pressure that you now begin to criticize yourself. Okay, another way to manage your own personal, I'm still talking about personal expectations, is adapt to changing expectations. Realize that your expectations can change, because there's nothing constant in this world. The only thing constant, they say, is change itself. It is constant. So you need to make room. You need to make room for change. When things go wrong or situations change, try your best not to act emotionally. some people are emotional. Yeah, it's some of us come like that. Some people are emotional, some people are not. But the thing I always tell people, by the time you finish crying, by the time you finish throwing tantrum, then you now sit down and begin to analyze what happened. I need to change my expectation. It didn't work out. What do I do? Because it's easy for you to feel like a failure when things shift. Most people begin to feel like a failure, leaving you unable to reach your own goals. And we sometimes try to blindly continue without reconsidering our expectation. What am I saying here? Once there is a shift in your expectation, shift in the way things happen, then you need to recalibrate and change your expectations if need be. Was I being realistic? What do I need to do? How do I position myself? Because sometimes it's all about positioning. What do? I need to reconsider this expectation. We must be agile, not just being agile. We must learn how to adapt. Companies that know how to adapt survive. Individuals that know how to survive under any circumstances are those that will survive. Those that know how to be able to scale down on expenses, scale down on expenditure, and be able to coast through certain situations that happen to us, be able to survive. During the lockdown last year, a lot of people found it difficult to be able to survive because they didn't expect a lockdown that much. But other people were able to, that a lockdown that lasted that much, other people were able to adapt and generate and open new sources of income, new lines of businesses. Ideas were formulated because of the lockdown. So you must be able to adapt. Yes, it didn't work. Don't feel like a failure even if you fail. Failure is an event. It's not something that should stick to you. It's not a label or a tag. It's something that happened. Intelligent people fail. Intelligent people make mistakes. So if you have made mistake and you have failed in a particular area, then now is the time to reconsider your expectations. Adapt, change. It's time for you to take a breath and say it's time for you to pause and consider other options. What options do I have? I always say this, that there are always options. I remember my dad will always put it in your ears that I agree that this thing you said will work, but my son, there are 1 million other ways that this thing can work. Because there's a way we can see life, and we think that from the angle we're seeing life, that this is the best thing that can ever happen. But not so. There are other ways that you can do things that can also be successful. And this is where rubbing minds and having a mentor or being able to seek for advice and counsel comes into play. Instead of thinking that, oh, okay, things that I'm finished. You see people make those statements, I'm finished, and there's nothing that can come out of this. We need to refrain from that initial expectation in the context of our new situation. We need to reframe it. Reframing that initial expectation that did not work doesn't mean that you are a failure. No, what it means is that we need to adapt. We need to change our expectation. I expected more. It's just like when you put your sales, maybe you travel abroad and you buy something and you say, no, I want to sell this thing for 20,000 naira. That's what you think. You have not checked the market. you've not you've not gotten the feel of the market. You say, okay, it will go for 20,000, but by the time you have tried to sell to 20, 30, 40 people and it doesn't seem to be working, then you know that your expectation was not right. Maybe now you need to recalibrate and look at the options of how you can look at your profit margin and now see, how can I bring it down a bit? What do I do? So these are some of the ways that you can manage your expectation so that your expectation doesn't choke you. So it does not choke you. Our expectations sometimes, it puts us in a place that we are afraid, puts us in a place that you set the expectations for yourself. You set the expectation, don't set it. You know, one thing I've realized and happens to me is when I set my mind on something, it's difficult. Let me use this. Maybe you want to go out. You've promised somebody you need to go. You want to see them. You've dressed up. You're ready to go. Then it starts raining. Then it keeps raining. It's not stopping. It keeps raining. It's not stopping. Something inside of you say, I need to go. You know, and sometimes because you are set to do something, and when you try to do that thing, it's not working, you still want to continue because you think that, yes, I can make it. So let me enter into this rain, depending on which city that you live, you can enter into that rain at that particular time and go and spend 2-3 hours in traffic. So next time you have to think, so how can this happen? When this happens to me, what do I do? Do I stay, wait for the rain, or do I change so that or do I make a call? Thank God you can, there's GSM now, you can call and say, can we reschedule? I'm not sure I can meet you because of this rain. There's so many ways to look at. Your expectation is to be there, but you can, as things change, you have to change to the new situation at hand. The initial expectation must be reframed in context of the new situation that you find yourself. Okay, another way to handle your own personal expectation is don't judge yourself too harshly. Don't judge yourself too harshly. And I think most of us tend to judge ourselves too harshly. You know, you see some people, and I see it in parents that tend to judge their kids. Every parent feels that their kids are very smart. So we place the bar very high. You know, maybe you had A1 in mathematics, you feel that your son should also not just have A1, have distinction. We have our own idea of how our kids should turn out. And most of us, at the end of the day, we are embarrassed by our own expectation of our kids. Some might surpass it, but others might not even get near it. But now you need to adjust. The same way we have parents do that, we do it to ourselves. We also judge ourselves too harshly. When our lives are ruled by personal expectations, it can make every day a struggle. It can make every day feel like a struggle. We criticize ourselves harshly for failure and feel disappointment when we don't live up to our dreams. The only way this can happen is because you did not fully research how long it will take, what it takes to achieve it. There's some things that you need before you say you want something. You have to realize, I want to go into business. I want to do a particular thing. I want to go into, if it's to go back to school, whatever it is. You are working, you're a career person, you want to go back to school. You have to wait. Do I have time? Can I get excuse? Will I have time to read in the night? Is my kind of job, does it allow me to read during the day? There's some kind of bosses you will have. You dare not read anything apart from the work that you're doing. They don't give you week. You can be called weekend, even if you're doing a weekend, whatever, a weekend degree. I don't know what they used to call it back then, for graduate degree, but you come weekends. Can any of you remember what it's called? Part-time. They used to call it part-time. Yeah, they used to call it part-time. Even at that, does it give you opportunity? Does it give you the chance? You know, when I did my MBA, everybody was telling me that I should do part-time. I did full-time. I said, I can swing it. And it was tough. It was tough because you have to leave work. You have to, it was a huge sacrifice. And I said, wow, is it not 1 year, 18 months, you know? But it was tough. It was tough. And if you don't really check, if you don't really check yourself, you must check yourself and know that you can sacrifice that, and you know that you have the capacity to. You have the know-how, the technical ability to do what you want. Don't enter a field. Don't do business you don't know anything about. You're going to end up judging yourself and judging yourself harshly. They say now is internet, digital marketing, or one thing, you go and enter something you don't understand. You will find out that after a while, you begin to judge yourself harshly. If only I've done this, if only I've done that. So you need to be like an explorer going through life, rather than someone with a path dictated by your expectations. Your expectations, like I was trying to say, that once you set your mind to go out, it becomes difficult. It will take a lot for you not to go out, or you want to travel, then all of a sudden it's not working out, and maybe the funds are not there, or the vehicle is not functioning well, but you are hell-bent on traveling. You are so frustrated. This is how, when you put yourself expectation that is unrealistic, that cannot be shifted. When you put it in your mind, you just want to achieve it. So you are striving to achieve, you are striving to make sure you travel, and you're putting yourself under stress, and you're judging yourself. And once you start to, that self-criticism start to come, you can no longer be effective. You can no longer be that productive. You can no longer think well. So look at life as something. It's not about whether you succeed or whether you fail. It's about your overall expectations should be more like learn and to improve on the way. It should be more like learning and improving on the way than to say than to say I just want to try. I have set a goal and a target. Sometimes I tell people vision and mission statements are two different things. Your vision doesn't change, but your mission statement can change. Your methodology in achieving the vision can change. You can get to it in different ways. So if one way doesn't work in achieving the vision, there are other ways that can work. If you fail in one way, find the way in which you will succeed. So when you judge yourself too harshly, it means that you're not able to manage your expectations. You're not managing your expectations well, and it's putting you under pressure, and your life is going to be chaotic. Your life is going to be full of distractions, full of stress. You become an angry person. You become a bitter person because simply you did not manage your expectations well. So now I'm done with managing your personal expectations. Let's talk about managing other people's expectations. You should be able to also manage other people's expectations. Example, even when you have your own personal expectations, well spelled out, it can be difficult to change what other people expect of you. So you must invest time and energy in improving your relationships, in making sure that you manage. To an extent, you can manage other people's expectation of you. And let's see how. You can do that by one, learn to communicate. No one knows how to make you happy if they don't know what makes you happy. So you need to communicate. You need to be able to clearly let someone know. Don't, as in like they preach in churches, they say a closed lip is a closed destiny. A closed mouth is a closed destiny. See, anything that has to do with you, because expectation is like the driving force of most people. I expect to be wealthy. I expect to live. I expect to live a fulfilling life. I expect to do some certain things, to achieve some certain things, to live in a certain way. So you should be, and you expect to be happy. You want to be happy. Don't do things. Let me give you an example. I learned very early when I was a bachelor, or when I was bachelor living, and someone tells you, maybe you are living in one bedroom or two or whatever, and you know what you do. There are some people that will tell you, I'm coming, some relatives, friends, or people you just met, and say, let me just spend. I know of someone that they were supposed to spend two weeks, and they spent 2 years. And the person was not talking. The guy was looking for a job, and he is the kind of person, he likes people, he will accommodate you, but he doesn't expect you to stay forever. So now this guy came and felt that since his friend was not complaining, felt that maybe his friend was enjoying his company, refused to look for work, refused to move out. How are we going? His expectation of you is that you accommodate him, that is a lively person, and is making your life very interesting, because your life is boring. So if you don't communicate, as in you have to be able to, somebody tells you, oh, okay, I want to stay with you for 2 weeks. It has to be clear that it's 2 weeks that the person is staying. So did you say you want to stay 2 weeks or 1 month? It has to be something that is clear. Even though I'm not saying use broom and sweep the person out of the house, but it has to be clear. Somebody will tell you, please give me 10K there, give me 10,000 there, and you give a friend 10,000 there, and some will even tell you, lend me this money. You lend them that money, and because you are not asking, and there's somebody he doesn't need it. Someone came to me. Someone came to me. He came to my event. He came to my event. He wanted to take something, and he decided to come to me and say, look, I'm going to pay afterwards. You bought something, he's going to pay afterwards. I say, okay, fine. That man till today hasn't paid. And I met him at the function, and he saw me there, and he was making a remark. And he said, the money was small for me. And so he didn't even think that it might be an insult for me that he's returning that money. I said, how can you insult me when you're returning my own money? You understand? And I just looked at it and I laughed. And is when you don't communicate, because I just left him, I just said, if he doesn't want to bring it, fine. That's the kind of person he is. And till today, he hasn't. But I learned lesson from someone that if you don't ask the person, I say, come, what about my money? They won't give you. Because the expectation is that I don't need that kind of money. Who told you? Do you know my bank account? And same thing, when someone comes and you're not communicating your own expectation well, you're not communicating well, then we have an expectation that will override your own. If you don't communicate about your expectation as well as your own plans and projects, you are essentially preventing others from managing their own expectations of you. You are even giving them the authority to have expectations of you that are unrealistic. If you don't communicate, learn to, I would say, over communicate so that people will know your boundaries and know your preferences. If you're not happy, don't be smiling in silence. There are polite way. I always tell people, there's a course I think talk about speaking and all that, verbal communication, body language. You know, I teach all that, and I tell people, I say, look, there's a way you can say, have discussion. There's a way you can tell people something in a polite manner that they won't feel insulted. It's a skill that can be learned in a subtle way, especially when you're dealing with authority, people in authority. There's a special way you can tell them this is boundary. It's a polite way you can tell someone that you shouldn't. There's a young man, not young man. There's a young lady that. A married young lady, she's married, she's been married for a while, and went to work in where I was working, but not the same division as where I was. And the executive director in charge of that division can call you. He likes to call people at any particular time. And because it was mainly men that were in that division, a few women, but he didn't see any reason why he cannot call you at any time. He calls you 12 midnight. If he feels like, if he has a brainwave, he can call you at any particular point in time. So this lady, the man called her by 8:30 or 9, and she didn't pick. She didn't pick. Her phone was on silent. She didn't pick. And he told, when she came to the office, he said, this man called me. The man came and was so upset, and they were asking her. He said, the man called me 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, I don't pick. I'm a married woman. Is that I'm attending to my kids, my husband, I'm cooking, I'm doing one thing. I doesn't expect that. Anything you want to tell me during working hours. Okay, 8 o'clock, but not 9. From that time that you don't be able, the man was. I said that I cannot change this. I have other responsibilities outside work. You know, I know that in the eyes of management, because I heard what was said, that this one will not be able to climb the ladder. I didn't feel so. I don't feel so. I feel that there are ways, you know, there are ways that you'll be able to work with someone that has other needs. Men too have issues and they need to attend to, you know, not because you call me, I can pick at 12:01, doesn't mean that I have a wife too. I have kids I need to attend to. So it is in that way, in a subtle way, she was able to stand her ground. I thought she was going to be sacked, but she wasn't. And it was like a lesson to everybody that was in the company that if you stand your ground and not be afraid, this is your right. It's not working hours. The working hours ended by 5. You are calling somebody by 9. You know, what if she's asleep? And it was in Lagos. Lagos, you have to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, start going to work, and come back 11 p.m. at night. How do you call somebody like that at that time? You know, people need to know your preferences. And so you need to be able to communicate. Based from that communication, people will set the right expectation. You are able to influence the kind of expectation you want from people, what they can expect from you. If not, people can expect that your life is like a barrel. Someone can enter in at this junction and leave at that. If you don't put boundaries, and you put boundaries by communicating. But see, there's a way to communicate. You have to be tactful. I'm not saying you come and say, I saw one webinar, one man said we should talk. So you begin to talk, and I didn't say you should just be talking. You have to be tactful, but make sure people understand your boundaries and preferences so that expectations cannot be dashed. Now, another way to manage the expectation of others is to prepare for problems. Just as you have to adapt to changing situations in your personal life, and you also run into these problems in your social life as well. Always try to imagine the worst case scenario for your situation and anticipate possible outcomes. I think it's last week or upper week, I talked about the sales manager I had at one time, and the bulk of what we did was how to respond to clients, to customers. And on Monday, instead of us to talk about how we're going to get in, no, we used to meet on Fridays, how we're going to get into the market, he will come and say, what is the worst case scenario? That was what we were doing. What happens when you have, he will ask you, what happens when you have an angry client? So we take our product, we look at the things that can make this client angry. Then we'll now develop answer to it. Then we'll now correct what we need to correct. If we need to advise management, top management, that this should happen, let's tell the manufacturers abroad to do it this way because the clients, that was the best. When we got into that department, my colleague was always complaining, why do we have to think of problem? Is it not bad omen to be thinking of problem? But I realized in sales at that time, it was the best thing to be prepared for your customers. We always had a plan B, a C to help us ensure that we meet expectations and even surpass it when something goes wrong. Do you know that? I can comfortably tell you between 75 to 80% of the time we can predict, or we can predict the questions from customers, the requests from customers. We can anticipate what they want just because we did our worst case scenario. That's how you can imagine, you can manage the expectations of others. So you can imagine sometimes they used to say sales was the best department. Why? When customers come to complain, somebody will respond to them because we've already rehearsed, we have already positioned and prepared ourselves for the question. So you are managing other people's expectation of you. And it helps us, and it helped us along the line to help us to predict, which is my last point, predict other people's expectation. Everyone comes to a situation with bias and preconceptions, which are the root of all expectations. Everybody has their own notion about something. So now, knowing where you others stand in terms of their own personal issues and beliefs can help you understand where their expectations come from. So even as you communicate your own expectation, try and listen to other people's expectation. Try and understand people. The first thing you need to do is to listen to your customers and your clients to know what they want. People make a lot of mistakes to get marketers. They say, I'm looking for marketers. You give them product, let them go outside there and begin to market. Most of the time, they are not successful because they are going to market to people where the people don't need what you want, what you have to offer. You should be able to predict people's expectation. Why? Because you need to know what they want. You need to relate with people. Relationship is important on a personal level, even on a corporate level, on a social level. interacting with whoever, understand, know that they have their own bias, because that's the only way you can predict. At least if you have a friend, you've stayed with somebody for 6 months, you can say, this my colleague doesn't like, he always comes on time. He doesn't like people sitting on his seats. So you can tell somebody that is sitting on his seat, this man doesn't like it, because you've been with him for a while. So when he comes and sees somebody sitting on his seat, you know that he will not be happy. So you'll be able to understand and predict his own expectation. That helps you to be able to know how to position yourself when it comes to others. Try to anticipate what other people expect of you. It helps you to do your work better. Neither work to meet your expectations or communicate about why they should be altered. You must prepare yourself in a position to try to predict, this is what I feel this person can. And after a while, you get good at this, your predictions. In that sales department where we were able to predict quite a lot of things, that it looked as if we were some soothsayers. We're able to predict because we sat down, we discussed with our customers. Before you sell something to a customer, we asked, they even gave us some certain questions to ask about them, ask about their family, their spouses, where they are from, become friends with them. Let's understand their mind, how their mind works. So knowing how their mind works, we know how to position ourselves to relate with them, to know how to position ourselves to interact, to transact with them. So in that way, you are able to manage others' expectation of you and to manage your own expectation, because it's very, very important. Okay, so I begin to wind down. I round up like this. Managing expectation is definitely a learned habit, and you get better at it. Some people are born with it, and some people are gifted in that area, and that they're able to manage other people's expectations, manage their own expectations. But usually, it's something that you have to be conscious of, something that you have to be intentional about. And this will help you to know that, look, I need to manage my personal expectations. I can't be unrealistic with my expectations, and also have to manage other people's expectation. And it will, once you know that you can learn it, the thing with habit is that if you have a bad habit, you override it with a positive habit. A positive habit removes you use a positive habit to remove a negative habit. It can be learned, and you will undoubtedly take time to change your mindset, because it's about the mind. But having the ability to understand and adapt these expectations, expectations can help you start to pursue your own goals in life. It will help you as a person to be rounded in terms of knowing how to position yourself for people's expectation of you, and also your expectation of yourself. So it's very important that we understand what these expectations can do for us personally, and can do for us, our social life. So is an important topic for every leader. We're still in leadership series, and we're still talking about how to make you an effective leader. And so today is understanding expectations, because without it, leaders will not be able to understand other people's expectations of them. Okay, so I will just give you, before we leave, I'll just have, just bear with me a few minutes. I have some information I want to give to you. This is the Marketplace Apostles organization. Marketplace Apostle brings 2 programs weekly, or 2 webinars weekly. One is a webinar, a seminar, a webinar directed in 5 areas, 5 of our core areas: business, career, leadership, personal finance, and relationships. and life issues also. So these are the areas we tackle here at Marketplace Apostles. And what we do here is to prepare the mind of a leader and a business person, an entrepreneur, a father, whoever, we are a mother, everybody in one form of leadership or the other. We want to prepare your mind. We believe that things change. Once things change in your mind, your life will change. Everything rises and falls in with leadership, and in so a leader must also be able to rise, because he cannot rise above his what you know. You can't rise above your thoughts. You cannot rise above your mind. A leader cannot rise above his mind. So we are particular about what happens to the mind of a leader. Likewise, we bring marketplace issues, those issues that you will not see being discussed regularly in business seminars, in leadership seminars. I feel and always feel that it's little things neglected that turn to big problems. When you're able to handle little things and you become more effective. So I try to look at topics that can spoil the big things that we're doing. And you can be a good person, but you don't understand how to manage expectations. And not being able to manage these expectations can do what? Can make you people see you in a different light of what you are not. So this is what helps us to be able to come up with these topics. All right. So I have on Wednesdays, I have my mentoring sessions. My mentoring sessions is by 4 p.m. every Wednesday, Nigerian time, West African time. And why do we do this mentoring? Because I don't take questions on Mondays. I just teach on Mondays. But people ask me questions on this area: business, career, leadership, personal finance, life issues, and relationships. So they ask me questions in that. I come on Wednesdays by 4 p.m. to answer those questions in this category to help people. And it's been a wonder. It's been more than what we expected. Lives have been transformed. Every day I'm getting messages, private messages of how businesses were turned around, how homes were rebuilt, and how people finances was changed. Even someone with someone listening to my message was able to stop committing, was able to halt committing suicide on that particular day just by hearing me speak. He went to my YouTube channel and heard me speak, and that was able to bring him out of depression. Okay, so we need to on Wednesdays I come to answer people's questions and point them in the right direction. It's an awesome mentoring session that I have, and you can be part of that mentoring session. You can ask, all you just need to do is just put a question out there in my DM, and I will pick it up and I will answer, answer you. If you don't get it, you can come to YouTube. You'll be in my YouTube channel, and you can always listen to it afterwards. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're also on Zoom. Any of these 4 handles, you can be part of it. All right. I do a lot of mentoring, but I also do private mentoring, coaching. People want to be mentored, coached privately. I've mentored a lot of successful people by the grace of God, of course, but they want to be mentored one-on-one. So it's more like saying, oh, Uche, I need your time. I need this time to be allocated to me. So they usually make arrangements for that. So if you have a particular thing that you know that 1 hour will not be enough, or to ask me a question will not be enough, then you can reach out in my DM. I will be able to talk to you, and we can see how we can structure that coaching thing. All right. So I'm happy to announce to you that Marketplace Apostles, we are the conveners of the Make in Nigeria exhibition and conference. Awesome. Make in Nigeria is exhibition and conference. Is the largest conference gathering, physical gathering conference in the South and Southeast of Nigeria. And so it's awesome. This year we are preparing for the 7th to 9th of October. Unfortunately, it's going to be virtual, not physical like we normally do. But that it also promises to be exciting, great and exciting. Last year we was virtual because of the long lockdown, but there was no difference. People told us that they didn't feel anything, that it was still the same. They got the same feel, the same experience. Their lives were blessed because of it. So we already have a lot of people registering. Please follow us on Make in Nigeria on all the handles. You can get it on Instagram. You can get it on Facebook. All the adverts are there. You'll be able to just hook up to it and just register, and you'll be getting emails, notification, and the things that are happening. We have wonderful speakers from all over the world, from the US, South Africa, Australia, and even in Nigeria. We have wonderful speakers coming. It's a 3 days event, 7th to 9th of October. Please make it a date. Make it a date and just book it down somewhere. Awesome teachers will come, and business people that have been tested in business. It will be a blessing to you in leadership and in business. I hope to see you. This is a special invitation. Please try and make it. Then the registration and all those things are there. I hope to see you on Wednesday by 4 p.m. Also, Monday we are back here 5 p.m. Continue to do what we're doing. And October, I hope to see you. Thank you for being with me today. It's an honor to have you here with me today. Thank you for coming up. God bless you guys. Have a good night. Have a good night's rest.